Hi all, thank you for joining today's session. In yesterday's session, we have discussed about the licensing in detail. We have discussed on how the licensing has to be procured and then how you can map it to your smart account and what is the right to use license. So we have understood these aspects in our yesterday's session. So today we would be we are shifting our focus towards the deployment. Okay, how are we going to deploy these WLCs and APs into our environment is what we would be looking at. As you know, there are two architectures. That is, one is a AREOS, where the older models, where the older model of the WLCs, like the one that we are using in our lab, that is 3504, which can support up to 150 access points and around 2000 clients and a throughput of 4 Gbps it will provide. Okay, so it is for small to medium sized deployments it is used. And there are other models also, as we have seen here previously, 5A series and all. Then we have the iOS model. The latest with the iOS model is like 9000 series, 9800 series. Okay. And in the 3504, so we are using AREOS .8.10 version. Here we in the 17 and all, we are just using it. And one thing to note is once you boot up the AP and it connects to a AREOS, so then it downloads the AREOS image into the AP. When it connects to a 9800 again, once it has connected to a 3504 and again it goes and connects to the 9800, so it will use the iOS image. Okay, the AP's image, it keeps changing when it connects with the different types of the WLCs. Okay, so today we will be seeing how to deploy these 3504 and all 3504 9800. So as you know, the 9800 has a different hardware appliance. So there is one thing that is called as appliance and one is a virtual machine. So we'll learn about that. So in the AREOS, we have 3504 and it is an appliance model. Okay. So you have one 3504 hardware. So one software in that. So if you want multiple 3504 you need to purchase multiple 3504 hardwares you need to purchase. But in the case of 9800, you can deploy it on a single hardware. So how is it possible? So you have a hardware like Cisco UCS server, right? So unified computing system. So Cisco has their own servers. They produce their own servers. Earlier it was from the IBM. Okay, so they just rebranded it as MCS server. These are very, very old server, MCS, Cisco MCS server. So those were under the hood, it was the IBM server. They just rebranded it as MCS. Earlier, when the Cisco started, so they were using the IBM servers only. Later, they rebranded it as MCS. And now we have UCS server. So in the UCS, it is unified computing system. We have two flavors in this, like the chassis and blade. Okay. So chassis is like a rack mount server. So one RU, two RU rack unit, two RU like this. So this is chassis. You get C220, C240. So it will be like this one. Okay, chassis. So C220, 240. And there is models also in this, like the M3 model, M4 model, M5. The latest selling model is M6. Okay. So these are the servers that they use under the hood, but it is like 9800. Okay. 9840 or 80 or 9800L. So like this you can use. Three flavors are there for that appliance model, 40, 80 and L. Okay. And yeah, so MCS, UCS server, Unified Computing System. So that's what the under the hood it is like C220, C240 servers only. But since we are using it for wireless, we say it as 9800 controller. Yes, they have the network ports and all that. I will walk you through that guide. I will show that how to mount it and all. So that is about the 9800 appliance model. Okay. So 9880 is the highest model with 9880. So this model basically basically it has got around it will support up to 6000 APs. Okay, 6000 APs, and it will provide a throughput of around 80 Gbps. Okay, 80 Gbps of throughput it will provide. Whereas the 40 model, so this will register around 2000 APs, and the client support it is like 32K, 32,000 users it will support. This will support 64,000 clients, okay, who connect to the SSID, right? So those are the clients. So 64,000, 32,000. Just imagine the amount of clients that it can register. So it throughput is 40 Gbps, and then there is 9800L. So that is going to support only 250 APs and around 5,000 clients it will support, and 4 Gbps it will support. Okay, this is the capacity of this appliance model. So this is one hardware, one software. Okay, even if you take the 3504, it is one hardware, one software. So there will be one 9800. This is called as appliance model. There is one more, that is you can use the hypervisor, or else you can deploy it on the cloud. So that particular model is nothing but 9800 CL. So this can be deployed on platforms like private public cloud, VMware, VMware hypervisor, or Microsoft hypervisor, or Hyper-V. Okay, Hyper-V, VMware Hyper-V. So like this you can deploy. So what is the benefit is, in the appliance model 8040L, so you have one hardware, one WLC, but you will deploy a business edition server, or else the normal UCS server you are going to deploy it. Here it is kind of a packaged thing where you get the software installed. Previously, the software is already shipped with the box, and you cannot have any other software in that. But if you purchase explicitly a UCS server like a 240 high density server, you are going to purchase M6 model. So on top of that, you can install the ESXi. Okay, ESXi. And this particular ESXi, you can, if you have the license with the VMware, okay, you have the partnership and you have some spare ESXi, then just purchase the UCS 240 M6. Yesterday I shown you how to create the estimate, right? So there you can choose the part code and order that server. It will cost around like 15 lakhs or something. Then on top of that, you can install the ESXi. Suppose if you want the ESXi for, and this ESXi has to be for Cisco only. So there is one image, okay, that is only for Cisco. So that ESXi you need to use. So in the ESXi, that is VMware ESXi, okay, or the hypervisor you can say. So in this different models are available like ESXi 6.0 and 7.0, 6.0, 6.5, 7. So latest is 7 series. But for installing it on the Cisco hardware, you get a standard Cisco software for this 6.0 or 7.0. That image only you need to use. Suppose you don't have the license, or the license from the VMware, so you can even order it from Cisco's Commerce Workspace. So there is a part code for that. You can explicitly order it as well. So what happens with this ESXi is, once you have the ESXi, you can have multiple operating systems on that, or the multiple applications you can have. Multiple 9800s you can install in the same machine. So that is what the virtualization is. So on the bare metal, you are going to provide one layer of virtualization. On top of that, you can install multiple VMs. So these are called as virtual machines. So multiple 9800s, you can deploy it on the same hardware. How? By using the virtualization. So in the latest technologies and all, virtualization is also kind of a old concept, where now there is containers, right? In the modern world, there is containers and all. If you know, like in this VMs, right? So these are the 9800 VMs that you are going to install it on the ESXi. Here, what was happening? This was the appliance model. Appliance model means one hardware you get a pre-installed 9800 software in that. That's it. You cannot install one more 9800 in the same box. But if you purchase one UCS box, on top of that you use ESXi, you install it. On top of that, you are going to install multiple 9800. So these are called as VMs. Okay. So these VMs, obviously, if you take any Cisco software, Cisco software or the application, like you take Cisco 9800, or else you take the iOS only, or any other collaborations call server, or a DNAC, or it can be any application. So these applications should have a base software, that is the operating system. The operating system can be Linux, CentOS, or else it can be Windows, right? Most of the applications of Cisco are on Linux and CentOS. There are some exceptions. Okay. There is a contact center application called as UCCE. So in that, Cisco uses Windows as a base operating system. On top of that, this UCC is installed. Or there are other components also which uses Windows platform. But normally Linux is the base. On top of that, you are going to have application 9800. Okay. In this Linux also, you get RHEL version. Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.0, 6.0, so like this. So RHEL version, CentOS 3, CentOS 4, CentOS 6, like this you have CentOS versions. Okay. So on top of that, you are going to build the 9800, but we don't know that. Okay. So once you run the image, so it will just go for a setup. It will boot. You have to give the initial configuration. That's it. So this, what is the underlying operating system? You never come to know. Okay, because it is locked, you cannot access that Linux. Okay, it is the only application you're going to access through the GUI or the CLI. But the Linux, are we going to enter any Linux command? No, because it is hard coded, so you cannot access that Linux. Okay, so that's what the virtual machine is, or the hypervisor. So you have a hypervisor layer which makes to install multiple applications on the same bare metal. Okay. And to manage this UCS, right, there is a software that is called as what? Cisco Integrated Management Console, CIMC. Okay. For accessing the ESXi, earlier there was vSphere and all, but now you can, through the web GUI, you can access it. And then the virtual machine, that is our 9800. So you can, you know how to access it. Okay. So even you can install this on the Dell servers also. Okay, Dell. Instead of using UCS, you can use Dell, but it should support the hardware specifications of the VM. Okay, it should match that specifications. Then you can install it on the Dell servers also. Okay, all right. So that's how you can install it on the virtualization. And also, you can install the 9800 in the cloud platform as well. I will just clear this. There is a question in chat, I guess. Do they have network ports? Yes, they have the network ports. I will show you the installation guide. So in that you can see. Can you show C220, 240, M6 model network ports? Yeah, sure. We can install this 9800. We can install it on the cloud as well. Okay, cloud. So in the cloud, the networking and all is different, right? So if you take the Amazon AWS cloud, so there is like VPC concept, then the IG, the internet gateways. So the concepts are a little bit different there. So this AWS, if you have installed any Windows machine, normal Windows machine in the AWS, so you will get that image of the 9800 as AMI. So you will get it in the AWS marketplace, and from there you can install it and you can build a VPN to your network, and then you can have the WLC installed. The image is same only, just you are installing it on the AWS and you are building the VPN tunnel to your corporate network. Okay. The installation and all is almost the same. Just you need to know the AWS concepts for that. Okay. And also there is one more flavor of WLCs where it is not a dedicated WLC, but a WLC acting as a AP and WLC at the same time. So that kind of deployment or that kind of devices are called as Cisco Mobility Express. Okay, Cisco Mobility Express, which performs both functions. Like it can work as a lightweight access point, and also the controller. It can work as a controller as well at the same time. And there are different models of this CS Cisco Mobility Express. That is nothing but in 9100 is the series. In the older version, it was 1800. Okay, 1830, I guess. So that was the Mobility Express. And also 2800, 3800 also used to support CME. And even in the some of the switches, right, you get a service module. So where you can add that service module in the layer 3 switches or the routers, and you can use that as a WLC. Okay, service module. Suppose in the Cisco routers, if you want a extra ports, right? So what you will do, you will purchase one module and you will insert it in the router. Similarly, you will get a service module that is for the WLC. It can support up to 50 APs and all. Limitation is that 25 to 50, I guess. Okay, like that also you can install the 9800. But mobility, the max it can support, Mobility Express, the max support it can do is 100 APs, I guess. It is for small offices. No, that depends. If you are using 9100, so it will be the same as the latest one. If it is 1800 and not AreOS GUI, you will get similar to 3504. Okay, so we will see that how the 3504 GUI will look and 9000 series will look. That is about the WLCs. The latest access point we will look. What are the latest access point? So latest access point we have is 9136. Okay, and 9136. It is for the smaller environment, but with high density, high performance and all. If you want, you will use 9136, and it supports both 2.4, 5, and 6 all 6 gigahertz bands. It will support. And then we have the models like 9136 is there, 9166 is there, uh, 9164 is there, 63 is there, 63, 64, 66. No, sorry, 62, 64, and 66. So this model is there. Okay. And this has the, yeah. So these are the ones that are there. Like these are the latest access points that you have. And these all support Wi-Fi 6, I guess. Wi-Fi 6 support is there. If you want Wi-Fi 7, that is 802.11be. So this is the standard for the Wi-Fi 7 latest one. For this one, 9178 model is there. So that will support access point 9178. So that will support um, Wi-Fi 7 specification. Okay, what is the benefit of Wi-Fi 7? Obviously, more throughput is there, and it is more, the speed is more, the capacity is more, latency is less. Okay, and also the main thing about these 9178 is the AI driven capabilities. Now everything is related, everything is moving towards AI, right? So what does AI do? For example, if you are having a conversation with a chat bot or anything, nowadays in the organization, suppose you are into marketing, so marketing companies will have their own software, so which will tell the data of last 5 years. Okay, and now as a employee I can interact with that AI, and I can get the information in the way I want, which was not possible before. Right? Suppose if I want to get some information, I need to go through series of documents and then I can conclude. But now there is someone who can do that for me even better and faster they can do. For example, you have 10 files you are having, and it is related to your business. And now that 10 files, if you want to analyze and get the output from it, so you have to read those 10 files. So now what happens, instead of going through all the 10 documents, I can just ask a question to the AI. Can you get a conclusion of these 10 documents? What was the more sale that was happening? So like that, it will provide the precise answer. So now what is our access point doing? So access point is getting information over the air. So what is the noise? What is the performance? What is the client density? How better they can improve the RRM, right? So that information it can feed to the AI by using some configurations, by changing the configurations. Obviously, I cannot interact with the AI as a chatbot, but instead I have some fixed set of configurations. So that configuration I can enable, disable, and the AI can act in behind, and it can give the outputs, which is more accurate, and it is very fast. So that's what the benefit of AI driven means. So that kind of functionality is supported by the 9178. I hope that explanation is you're able to understand like what I'm trying to tell. Okay, these are the different models. Let's quickly move on. We have to cover many things here. Let me reshare my screen. Before resharing. So we have till now what we have done is we have understood what is 3504 or the Airy OS, what are the different models and how it is how it can be deployed. Okay, so that we have seen. So now I will show you once we get a 3504, what we should do as an appliance. So obviously in the Airy OS, there was no VM concept or we cannot deploy that on the cloud. Okay. But first what we will do is we will understand how a 3504 has to be deployed. Next, we will understand how a 9800 can be deployed. Okay. In different flavors. So this is what we are going to see the next. So let's pull the 3504 deployment guide and let's focus how it is getting deployed. I hope you are able to see my screen. So for installing the 3504, so we have the installation guide with us. So this is how a 3504 will look. Okay. So you see this here. So there are two 3504s here. This one, this one. Okay. If you want to have a better picture of this, 3504. So this is how it looks. Okay, 3504. And the replacement for this is 9800L. Okay, it also looks similar only. 9800. There are different ports in this. This is the appliance model. One hardware, one software. So how to install this? So once we bring this once we procure this, so obviously we'll go through the BOM and verify that all parts are available looking at the part codes. Okay. So you will make sure that the PSU unit, power supply unit is proper, the wires are proper, the cords and all. Okay. So these two are there. And once you rack it like this with all the brackets that is there, so this is only 2 units, this much. Okay. Not this one. So this is something else. So only this one, two are installed in a HAIS. So once you install it, so then the first thing that you can do is you need to connect the console cable. Okay, console cable, and you can access it through putty. Okay, once you access that through putty, so this is the uh, putty, like how much parameters that you need to keep, but normally it will come up. And once you start booting up, once you provide the power, so this is what the bootloader will start booting like this. And then so don't do anything, just it will keep on booting. So it will go through all the process, and then you will be witnessing a startup wizard. Okay. So once you witness the startup wizard, you just need to give the information like the username, system name, administrative password. So all these things you need to give the link, aggregation lag, so management interface IP address. So these all things, the generic informations that is required to for the device to be up and to put it to the network, like the IP address, subnet mask, DNS IP address. So all those things you will give and you can put that into the network. So once everything is done, you have given the username and password, everything is correct. So again, it will boot and it will come back. Once it comes back, you need to give the username and password that you entered in the previous step and you can log in. Okay, that's how simple it is. You can install it. But you should be aware of these things, the ports. Okay, that is not sure if this is the one. So these are the ports. Okay. And here you have one management port, then console port, service port. Okay. So these all, what are these ports? We will learn in the next session. There is little bit tricky thing about the 3504. Whereas 9800, you don't have that complexities about the ports, knowing the ports and how they work. But here you have it. So I will explain all those ports. So here you can see number one, this is the service port LED, then redundancy port. So there is a service port, this three. So this one is service port. This one is RP port, that is a redundancy port. So you can take a crossover cable, connect from this WLC to another WLC. Okay, directly you can connect. So for HA basically, HA can be over the LAN or WAN, both it can be, but LAN is preferred. This is the service port. So what is the use of the service port is it is used for out of band management. So there is two things. One is in band management. Another one is out of band management. So what is the difference between in band management and out of band management? So if you configure this data port to carry the management traffic as well, so that is in band management. Something happens to this data link, the management link also goes down. but service port is a out of band management. So what that means, service port is out of band management. Here only it is dedicated for the management traffic. Okay, and it is put on a different VLAN. Okay, it is put on a different VLAN than what the actual management thing is there. So here also we have a management interface dedicated, but you can use this for the data also, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 ports you can use for data and management. Okay, and one of the port you can choose for management. But here this one is a for out of band management. It is dedicated for management traffic. Okay, it is used as a backup in case if something goes wrong with this, you can even access it from the service port as well. So that is the use of the service port. Redundancy port, it is for the HA. Okay. Then fifth one is a CPU console port. Console port, you know, right? So you have accessed the networking devices. It is similar to that. So once you boot up, you put a console, open a putty, then you need to walk through the startup wizard. That's it. So startup wizard, how it is in the next session, I will show. Then you have mini USB console port. It is the same usage as in the network devices. The main important thing is this. Five ports are there. These are the M gig ports, support speed up to 5 gig, 2.5 and 1 gig. Okay. And 9 and 10. Oh, sorry, this is 8. 8 is one. This is only gig port. Okay, if you see 9 and 10, that is this data port. Management port is gig port, but data ports you can see gigabit Ethernet ports 1, 2, RJ45. These ports are designed for. I think it does not support gig. It is a little bit slower compared to this. This is little bit faster. This one link. This is little slower. Okay. Then there is a reset button here. If you have to press and keep for some time to do a hard reset, factory reset if you want to do, and you need to check the behavior of this LED. Okay, I think behavior of LED somewhere it will be here. So blinking green system boot, bootloader alarm indicator. So from here you can check out the behavior of the LED. So once you keep that pressing for 30 seconds, so the LED will start blinking in green. Okay. Suppose if it is blinking in green, controller image upgrade, amber firmware upgrade. So controller error like a blinking amber. So that's a controller error. So blinking green. So that's a system boot. So if you want to boot, so once you hit that and once you keep the reset button pressed for 30 seconds, then it will start blinking green. That means it has taken the reset and it is booting now. So like that you can, this is the backside of the 3504. So that's about the 3504. Okay. So we'll see in the next session, we will install it and we will see like a fresh. Okay, there is a command where we can reset everything and we can start from fresh. So that I will show you in the next session. So then 9800. So 9800L, if you see, it looks the same as this one. Okay, 3504. See 9800. So it looks almost the same. Like here, this is the one 9800L. It supports up to 250 APs, right? So it looks the same as the 3504. It's an upgrade for 3504. If you look at 9800 80, okay, 80 looks like this. I think this is not a UCS server, okay, it's just a normal one. It's like some router. It's not a UCS box, okay. 9880 or 40, they are not a UCS box. It is like a normal box, okay, normal kind of a router. So let's see how to deploy it. So there are different ports in this, similar to what 3504 was having, but the configuration is not complex as 3504. It's pretty straightforward. It's on the iOS. That's the reason. The picture is not that clear in this. So here also the system is pretty clear. So once you connect the console cable, power on the device, it will go for a setup wizard. Once it goes for the setup wizard, so there you need to enter all the details, username, password, and what radios you need to turn on and all those things. Then it will come up. So then once it is into the network, you can open the GUI console and then you can access the IP address and you can take it from there. It is pretty simple. Then there is this one more thing. Suppose if you are deploying it on the ESXi, I said right. So we can deploy it on the ESXi. So this is the supported hypervisors that it will support. This is the compatibility metrics kind of thing. So if you go for the VMware, so VMware ESXi 6 and 7, 6.5, 6.7 is supported, and the KVM version is Red Hat Linux or Ubuntu. CentOS also I think it supports. Apart from the VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V also it is supported, and these are the versions that it supports. And you need to install an image that is 9800 CL. Okay, there are different flavors available for 17.3 version, small, medium, large. Okay, so this is the minimum number of CPUs and all that it supports. So when you install on the ESXi, so there are two ways you can install. Either you can install it through the OVA template, or else you need to manually give all these hardware parameters like the virtual CPUs, the RAM, the memory, so these the hard disk. So all these things you need to give manually. If you don't want to give manually, you have to use something called as OVA template that we'll see in the tomorrow's session. OVA is Open Virtualization Archive or the format. So where you can, it describes the hardware parameter. How to install it, we will see tomorrow. It is just a deployment walkthrough. Okay. So these are the models that are available, and this is the hardware specification for deploying it as a VM. So we take a UCS server or any Dell server, we put a ESXi on that. So what ESXi are supported? These are the one. If you install Microsoft Hyper-V, these are the one. So on top of that, when you install a VM, 9800 VM, so you need to download the 9800 CL latest version from the Cisco website. Okay, so then you need to start installing it on the ESXi. When you start installing it, so then it will ask for some specifications like how much CPU, how much memory and storage is required. Depending on whether you want a small factor or a medium factor or a large factor deployment you need to have. So you need to use these hardware parameters. If you don't know this, then you can there is a OVA template, so that you can use and you can install. Okay, so that we will see in the next session. So these are all the specifications, VMX Net 3. So these all things should be like this. So in the small 1000 access point, 3000, and in the high 6000, and this is the client supported. So this is the compatibility metrics for deploying it on the ESXi. Okay. So you can see hypervisor, and this is the virtual 9800. So this is the ESXi, okay, on the server, and you need to install it like this. You need to go to host and then deploy it on a virtual machine or through a OVA. You need to specify here. They have selected the OVA, and then you use the image that you downloaded from Cisco website. Then you choose the hard disk. Since you have chosen the OVA, it will automatically take all the hardware parameters, and then it will just take here the hardware parameters it has taken, and then it goes for a boot and it will start installing. Okay, so that is the steps that is defined there. And now suppose if you want to install it on the cloud, okay, if you want to install it on the cloud, so then you should be aware of many concepts, okay, if you want to install it on the cloud. Um, so just in case if you are interested, so here you can see the supported AMI. So the AMI is already available, like the image, the 9800 image is already uh, available in the AWS marketplace. From there you can download. So how it looks is, yeah, here, if you go to AWS marketplace, so here you get that image. Okay, from here you can just add that image. Okay, so once you add that image, then you need to do couple of things. That is, you need to build the VPN, and also you need to properly do the VPC. Okay. If you see the licensing will be the same. Okay, what is being used, that is advanced and essential only will be used, the licensing part. So these are the steps that you need to do. Launching a Cisco 9800 Amazon machine image occurs directly from the AWS marketplace. Will be deployed on an Amazon EC2 instance in the Amazon VPC instance. So if you are aware of the Amazon, so Amazon EC2 machine and also Amazon VPC instance, we can deploy it. And so this is the hardware specification you have. The allocated resource will allow the instance to scale up from 1000 APs to 10,000 clients. AWS is purchased and launched as an AMI. After you deploy, you would have to purchase the DNA subscription license that we talked about in yesterday's session, the smart licensing model. Then encrypted elastic block storage. So create a Cisco 9800 instance on the AWS marketplace, take a snapshot, create a private AMI, copy the private AMI and encrypt target EBS snapshot. This is for the storage, okay? Um, so different ways to launch 9800 in AWS. You can do it as a cloud formation template. You can use it with AWS Marketplace as using the AMI, just like an image. Launching a 9800 CL instance from the AWS console. So these are the three ways you can launch the AWS 9800 in the AWS cloud. Okay, then you need to have a VPN connection using the AWS VPN router. Then you need to have the AWS gateway, internet gateway if you're accessing it through the internet. So there are a couple of configurations and networking that you need to do. Here you can see that steps. Okay. So if you're interested, you can follow this guide and also you can install it on the AWS as well. Okay, if time permits, we can do that. Or else, since in the CCI and all, there is no AWS, we are not installing it on the AWS. In case if you are interested and you know the AWS, you can just download the AMI and you can install. That's the pretty easy one. Okay, so UCS. So as I said, the 9840, 80 and L, these are the appliance model. So from looking at the image, I don't see that it is on the UCS. It is a normal hardware, just like a router. Okay. But if you want to deploy it on the ESXi, then you need to purchase the UCS server. That is UCS C240M6. Okay. So this is how the UCS server looks like. Okay, rack server, one rack unit, two rack units. So like this servers you will get. These are the UCS servers. On top of these UCS servers, you need to install the ESXi. On top of that, we can install the different 9800 VMs. Okay, this is the chassis server. There is one more server, UCS server, that is the blade server, UCS blade server. Here on this also we can install the VMs. So multiple blades will be there. One chassis will be there, like this outer body. Then you can install it. Then you can install multiple blades into it. Okay, as you can see, there are thin blades, right? These are one server, two server, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So like this, 8 servers are there. Okay, you need to install 8 blades into this. So this is a blade server, Cisco blade server. Chassis server is the one that I shown you before, C series 240. So the 240 looks like this. 240. This is the high density server. This is M4. The latest selling model is M6. Okay, see how slim it is looking. Being a 240. 240 is a high density server. So low density is 220. Okay, see this is the 220 model. Okay, this is how it looks. Either it can ship with the ESXi. It depends on how you loaded the order. Okay. If you are loading only the hardware, you will get the hardware with CIMC for managing it. Then you need to install the ESXi on your own and you have to license it. If you want the license ESXi to be pre-installed and licensed, so then you need to raise that order accordingly. And top of that, you are going to install the VMs. So that we will see in the tomorrow session, where we will see the installation of 3504, then the 9800. Okay. I hope this concept is clear for you. AirUOS appliance, we have multiple AirUOS models. Okay. So AirUOS 55 series is there, 35 series is there, 85 series is there. So this is how the 55 old one. So the latest one is our 3504 that we are using in our lab for the AirUOS. AirUOS is we are not using it. Okay. Everyone is moving toward 9800. Since the CCI lab is having this 3504, we are explaining this. Okay, old model. These are old models. Then we have 85 series also we have. Okay, these are 85 series. The latest is 9800. Either the CL or 80 or 40 like that. CIMC is used to manage the UCS server. Okay. So this is the UCS 220 M6, right? This is the hardware. So hardware has what? Hardware has the PSU unit, that is the power supply unit. It is having the hard disk. It is having RAM. So all these things it has to manage. The hardware has to be managed by someone, right? So that is the software CIMC. Suppose you take your laptop. So laptop hardware is managed by what? BIOS, correct? BIOS. So similar to that, if you want to manage the UCS server itself, that console is CIMC. That software is CIMC software. Cisco Integrated Management Console. Okay, CIMC. On top of that, we install the hypervisor ESXi. To manage that, we access it through web. Okay, that's the different software. For managing the server itself, to check the RAM, to check the hardware, hard disk, all these things, if you want to check, so the CIMC is used. And its console looks like this, Cisco CIMC. This is the old console. It looks like this, where it is, you can power off the server, power on, then you can manage the inventory, sensors, like fan, if the fan is working fine or not of the server. So all those things. And also if you want to boot the ESXi image, so that also can be done. So like this console, this is the KVM console. Okay. So through that you can manage. Okay, CIMC console. If you want to boot the ESXi, right, you need to launch this KVM. It is in the CIMC. Okay, you need to launch this KVM. Input you have to input. So there is a way to connect that. Okay, so I will just explain in the tomorrow session. where you need to connect the KVM cable, monitor, keyboard, and all you need to connect, and then you can access it, and you have to enter few commands. That is particularly for the UCS. No, AREVOS, we don't have VM, virtual machines. It is one hardware, one software. So that concept of virtual machine came in the 9800 models. So I will stop here for today. So I will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I will install the 3504, and also I will I will install the 9800 VM. Okay, that two things we can cover tomorrow. How they connect like HA port and other ports. So in the ESXi, we have to connect it internally only. Okay, no physical ports there for the HA. Just you need to build the networking. That's it. All AREOS hardware are UCS based or like a router. AREOS like a router, not UCS based. Even the 9800 appliance model, they are not UCS based. UCS based is only for the VMs. Okay. We have VM in AREOS. We have VM. Okay, okay. So that virtual WLC. That is VWLC. Virtual wireless controller is there. Yeah, that older model is there, virtual wireless controller. So there is one VM we can install. Yeah. So we can install it on it's a pretty old one, but I see that end of sale was 2022. Okay. So we can install it as a virtual machine, a virtual VWLC. We can even do it in our lab. So I think there is an image available. Okay, I will stop here today. So tomorrow we can explore more things on this. Obviously, I will not leave until you have understood all the concepts. So tomorrow also we can continue, and we can install the 3504 and 9800. Okay. Yeah, I hope you had a great learning.